Okay. Working on my middle handrail here.
TC, I've got the final wire tie. It's on the mid strut of the long handrail. So it looks like it's flying pretty nicely. I see a view from my HECA.
Yeah, we're looking at it now. It looks real good. Now, as you make your way back, well, of course, you'll coordinate with Chris your movement, but we do want you to check out the MLI that's over the M13, 14 bolts that are near the mounting bracket. So as you make your way back, we'd have you tend to that.
M13, 9 through 12? Oh, or M23? So it is all tucked in, I can see.
Okay, I'm going to start moving towards that long handrail, Jessica.
Okay, I'll remain still. And TC, I can see the MLI all the way down the strut, so from what looks good to me, and I think you meant this final end around M23 that we talked about, and it is still snug.
Yeah, it's actually on the upper strut, Jessica, to the mounting bracket, M13 and 14. So take a look there. We agree with you.
Oh, you mean on the bottom?
Yeah, so the upper strut that's coming from the mass canister center pad to the mounting bracket, the bolts that are right there at the mounting bracket.
Okay, so the other end from where I am, where I started, you mean?
No,
I'm already back at the long handrail.
Yeah, I think once you're on the other, when you get to the midpoint of the mid strut, looking at the mounting bracket, you'll be able to see the area that we're talking about.
Okay, but I was going to translate down the mass canister. You want me to translate back out onto the strut?
Yeah, that's affirmed because we're going to get a HECA scan from both of you. So we'll need you to...
Okay, copy.
Okay, good.
Chris, can I translate?
Yeah, I'm holding in position on the long handrail.
Okay, I'm translating.
I undid, this had like three twists, and I'm tying, it's kind of like a big loop. I'm tying the end of the loop to the middle stanchion.
Okay, guys, we're about...
That's kind of what you did, Jessica?
30 seconds from a handover.
Okay, TC, I am kind of in the position you were talking about, but I don't see any MLI. That's out of place.
Okay, we're 13 seconds from a handover, but if you go up higher, the M13, 14 bolts are the ones that are on the upper strut there. Yeah.
That's a good to translate.
And I found the spot she was talking about, the little square M13 and 14 were a little bit uncovered.
And I can hear you, Jessica. I can't see you yet, but yes, bingo. We're talking about that corner that goes over the metal block at those bolts.
I've got the MLI over the corner now.
Sweet. All right, you guys. Excellent work. We have to just do some glove hap and gauntlet checks, and then we'll call it good.
All right, EV1, my hat is dry. I'm looking at my right glove. I don't see any changes. Changes to the left glove either, and my gauntlets are down.
Okay. And EV2, no changes to my, actually looks like those little flaps of RTD have just disappeared on my right glove. No other damage or anything noted on my left glove or my right glove. Hat is dry, gauntlets are down.
Okay, I copied good checks on both and the details from your RTV, Chris, and stand by.
And Chris?
Mm-hmm.
The Velcro on your PGT?
Yeah.
Okay.
Saw that and I'm trying to
Looks good.
fix it. It keeps wanting to pop back up, though. I don't want the battery to...
It has, I mean, those things do have that memory pop up.
Yeah.
But as long as the Velcro's there, you're good. And it looks good now.
And after taking a second look at the MLI, the ground confirms that everything looks good with that installation. And we did get confirmation that the cables were routed successfully for the future iROSA installation.
And no changes for me.
Excellent. Glad you guys are feeling good. Okay. We're going to step into the next phase here, so give me just 1 minute while I coordinate.
All right, Chris, yeah, you've got the same thing that I had.
I do.
The recoil doesn't help. So if you loop the whole reel around your arm, I think it might help because
Okay. Yeah.
you can get it up. There you go now, and then there you go. You got it.
Yeah, you got it. Thank you.
Your camera lens cover's off.
So, popped off.
You're looking awesome.
Thank you.
And we are now 4 hours and 45 minutes into today's spacewalk. So far, NASA astronauts Jessica Meir and Chris Williams have installed and completed all the struts on the 2A mod kit, have installed MLI or multi-layer installation on the left and right mid struts, and have routed the iROSA cables.
Happy.
Really playing favorites with your Hecka.
I know.
Another wire tie on the bottom hand of the handrail.
Huh.
What's that one there?
That must have been from the prior EVX. We hadn't.
No, that's right, because this was their strat.
Mm-hmm.
I think when we have to go to translate, I'm going to just go down the strut
Okay.
instead of going back to the mass canister.
Yeah, that's what I was planning on doing too. That's how I got here.
All right, guys, we're doing good. And our next tasks are, as you expect, the DDCU jumper and the port sarge imagery. So I'm going to get you guys started on those. Let's see. Your next steps, Jessica, will be to retrieve from the cable bag the Canon connector tool, etc. So let's have you translate there. I heard you guys trying to coordinate your movement to your respective work sites. So your next steps, Chris, will be to, and you've got your camera, or is it in the bag?
I've got my camera.
Okay, great. You're going to be going, basically you two need to switch sides. Stand by.
So,
Yeah, I'm just going to come back to my corner and go over the...
yeah, I'm going to go to the cable bag, and then I'm going down to the behind me.
Okay, you guys...
I'm going to translate down the strut right now.
Okay.
Good with that.
Copy, go for it.
It sounds like you guys have a good plan for translating to your respective spots. Your next steps, Chris, will be to translate to the port sarge cover 17 and remove your fair leads along the way.
Copy that.
And with those communications, NASA astronauts Chris Williams and Jessica Meir are now going to split up for the next portion of today's spacewalk. Williams is going to head to what you might refer to as Port Sarge, which refers to the solar array rotary joint located on the port side of the International Space Station. This is critical for rotating the solar arrays to track the sun. Once he gets to the Port Sarge, he is going to take some imagery of the International Space Station's Port Sarge side for the ground to do further analysis on. Meanwhile, NASA astronaut Jessica Meir is going to work on the DDCU jumper procedures. This is a redundancy on the power system to ensure that there's added redundancy aboard the International Space Station.
And Chris, just to give you a heads up as you make your way towards the Sarge, a caution for you is to not use the Sarge cover for stabilization or maneuver because it may deform the cover. I know you're a little ways from there.
Copy that. Copy all, and we'll knock.
And as we take a look at our spacewalkers today completing their translation, you do see NASA astronaut Jessica Meir inside of the cable bag there. She is rearranging some tools there, and you can identify her based off of the red stripes on her spacesuit.
Okay, and there's an adjustable that goes with it. You're going to stow that on your workstation. And then there's also, you're going to use that adjustable for the dummy caps later.
Copy. Okay, I see the adjustable with the Canon connector.
And Williams, on the lower middle portion of your screen there in the spacesuit with no markings on it, is continuing to translate to the port side of the International Space Station to take a look and inspect the solar array rotary joint, as well as take some imagery of that area. We are now over 4 hours and 52 minutes into today's spacewalk, the 278th in support of space station maintenance, assembly, and upgrades. Today's spacewalk is the first outside of the International Space Station for this year, the fourth for Mir, and the first for Williams. So far, our spacewalkers today have successfully installed all of the struts on the 2A mod kit, as well as installed multi-layer insulation on the left and right mid struts and routed cables for future IROSA installation.
And I have crossed back inboard of the Sarge, and I'm going over to phase 3.
Copy, Chris.
Traffic County Connector Tool, I'm working on the jumper. It's kind of tangled up in the 3 PCC.
Yeah, I can see that. Somebody got it.
I think I got it for you now.
Good job.
And I'm going to take that adjustable with me so I can temp stow DDC jumper.
Yeah, exactly. We had you taking your ret to one of the rings on that adjustable, and then you're going to, once you're out there, transfer the Canon connector tool to a second mini workstation ret so that you can use that adjustable for the dummy caps.
Copy. Can work.
Okay, TC, I am at 3854.
Good memory. Okay. I assume you can, you're looking right down the barrel of the Sarge at where the missing cover 17 with your head aft nadir.
A-firm.
Okay. All right, you're...
A-firm. I'm going to get my BRT down.
Excellent.
Yeah, I've got both the jumper and the Canon connector tool.
Okay, just...
I'm going to just loop the jumper kind of around my arm.
Sounds good. And you'll work your way outboard. I have a...
And NASA astronaut Chris Williams has arrived at the Port Sarge area. Again, that refers to the solar alpha rotary joint located on the port side of the International Space Station. This is critical for rotating the solar arrays to track the sun. Williams is going to inspect the Port Sarge as well as take imagery of that area. And on your screen, you see NASA astronaut Jessica Meir in the spacesuit with the red stripes. She has received the tools that she needed from the cable bag and has stowed them on her mini workstation and is now going to work to translate to the non-radiator side of the P4, P5 interface ahead of that DDCU jumper. This procedure will help ensure that there is redundancy on the International Space Station's power system.
Was that 507?
It was, so Chris, we're good with your plan. Stand by while I give Jessica the handrail number 5206, I think is what you're looking for.
Yeah, I think it's probably the one underneath it.
And once you've got an ID on that handrail, Jessica, let me know, because I'm going to switch over to Chris for some words.
I'm on 5206 right now.
Okay, that's where you're going to temp stow the...
I got it.
And then once you temp stow the jumper, you'll position yourself at the center panel, and I have some warnings for you. Go ahead, Chris.
Okay, copy.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the Sarge, and at the, so I see the outer canted surface, and it does appear to have some lubricant berms. It looks sort of a darkish gray in color, and it's kind of a little bit splotchy or speckly, so it's not like a smooth berm. It's kind of like chunks here or there, and there looks like to be some flecks that there's sort of the outer canted surface, and then sort of a flat surface outboard of that, and it seems that there's sort of flecks on that as well. On the datum A, there are again the same sort of darkly colored berms that are sort of a little bit gloopy and discontinuous, so not kind of a smooth line. My best to get some pictures. The lighting is pretty tough. Okay,
Chris. We're copying down all your notes. We actually got a heck of view from you now. And, yeah, continue with your photos.
Copy.
And Williams now moving on to photographing that area following his inspection and report out here to the ground.
Temp stood on 5206.
Copy, Jessica.
And I have the Canon connector tool, so I think I'm coming down here to get the caps first. And I see them.
Yes, let me read some cautions to you first. Actually, it's a warning. Two of them, pinch hazard, Canon connector, rotating housing, as well as the EVA connectors may become hot if left uncovered, so handling may need to be limited to prevent glove damage. And also I want to remind you the interesting tether point on those Canon connectors. You remember those?
I do. Yeah, you have to go like sideways in order to get the adjustable on there.
Yeah, you got it. Okay. You're going to use that adjustable to tether to the dummy caps and rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise to white on white to remove, and you're looking for J43 and J44.
I copy. I see them.
And Chris, when you are set,
EV1, M1 enable.
When you're starting on.
M1 was calling me TC.
Okay, stand by. I'm going to stand by on comm for a second.
EV1 from M1, just a heads up, we're beginning our geocast from the park position to the lens cover go-no-go position.
1 copies.
And you did hear some communications there from inside the International Space Station, NASA astronaut Jack Hathaway letting the crew outside, which is NASA astronauts Jessica Meir and Chris Williams, know that they are primed and in the ready position to operate the Canadarm2 for a portion of this spacewalk that will be later today to install a lens cover on a portion of the Canadarm2.
So I see sort of darkened berms. I do see, I wouldn't call it an oily sheen, but definitely looks, you know, so The opposite side looks quite reflective, whereas there looks to be a little bit of streaks on like datum A of the side that's in use. I wouldn't call it a sheen, but kind of streaks.
Okay, that's good. And so next is to compare the surface condition of the outboard race ring with the unused inboard race ring.
Yeah, I would say overall, the surface condition in terms of leaks or damage or anything looks the same. They both look in good condition. There just seems to be this sort of dark material, which I presume is the lubricant that is sort of flecked over the outboard surface. But I don't see any particular damage or any obvious signs of intensive wear. Maybe the corners look a little bit more rounded on the teeth of the outboard ring than the inboard ring, but they look pretty comparable to me.
Okay, Chris, sounds good. Now report any debris similar to metal filings if you see any.
I do not see anything that looks obviously like metal filings. There are some sort of shiny flecks in the darker lubricant. Could be metal, but it's not obvious to me what it is.
Okay, copy that. And stand by for you, Chris. Jessica, how you doing?
I am good. I have one of the caps off, J43. I'm working on the other one. A little bit hard to get my ret in there because the ret receptacle is flush against this raised structure, the way it's turned. I don't know if my ret will actually close. Oh, okay, it did.
Copy.
Okay, and I've got J44 as well.
Copy, J44 removed. Now you can reposition to the 4 alpha panel, and I have an optional BRT, or actually a couple of ideas for you if you need one.
Okay, and the 4 alpha, that's the Papa 44 connector, correct? On the other side, not where I am now.
That's affirmative.
Copy.
Okay, Chris, how do you feel about the pictures you took? You think you got them all?
Yeah, I took as many as I could. The camera, unfortunately, because of like the lack of sort of contrast in the dark areas, was not auto-focusing and taking. I got as many as I could.
Okay, we're good. Great work on that task. We'll have you translate back to the cable bag.
Heading back to the cable bag.
And with that, Williams has completed the port SARJ inspection. Again, that refers to the solar array rotary joint located on the port side of the International Space Station. He reported his findings down to the ground and took some imagery that will be analyzed later. At this time, he is now translating to the cable bag.
Cautions and warnings to read to you.
Once there, he will stow the camera that he just used to inspect this port SARJ, and will also retrieve a racket wrench that will be utilized during the next portion of today's spacewalk.
And a warning, do not inadvertently demate Papa 45 or 46. Those are the thicker diameter cables that are adjacent to the target connectors that you're going for due to arcing and sparking hazards. How copy?
I copy all. I'm looking right at P44. I have a very good view of both of those cables, and I understand I will be mating P44.
Okay, let me get a go for you before you demate.
And in this view, you do see the Canadarm2 being moved from inside the International Space Station. NASA astronauts Jack Hathaway and European Space Agency astronaut Sophie Adno are prime for Canadarm2 operations today.
Okay, copy. I'm going to demate. So I'm going to put my connector tool in. got that in, and so I'm going to turn that to the left to hard stop. Correct?
Sounds good. And how are you doing, Chris? You finding your way back?
I'm doing good. I'm coming back down the Sarge. I see the arm moving.
Well, that's fun.
Mir is continuing to work on the DDCU jumper. Again, this is for redundancy on the power system for the International Space Station. Meanwhile, Chris Williams is making his way to the cable bag to retrieve the racket wrench.
I'm going to look at the female end on structure. I see good sockets, EMI band, no FOD.
Copy.
After he works on the cable bag, after he works to get the tools out of the cable bag, he is going to work on the next portion of the spacewalk called the ORU torque reset.
Now you're going to route that old.
Essentially, what Williams is going to do is remove the torque and release it, then retorque it at a lower value. This is to allow future robotic operations if needed. At this time, the torque on these areas is a bit higher than the capability of the robotic arm, so once Williams resets the torque, future robotic operations should be able to occur.
It looks like the shortest route would be to go underneath the hot cable J46. I don't feel like it's going to actually make it there.
I'm checking. Does it look like you need to go under a strut too, or just the cable?
No, just the cable, but even doing that, I don't know that it's going to actually reach J44. I can try it, and I see top down. Oh, that's not top down structure. I do see some A clamps further back near handrail 5202 that could be released, but that at least knows that it'll reach.
Okay, I'm checking.
And in this view, we do see NASA astronaut Chris Williams as he is working to stow the EVA camera in the cable bag. Following that, he will retrieve the racket wrench that will be used in the next portion of today's spacewalk.
You see, I'm back at the cable bag.
I see that, Chris. Good job. All right, you're going to stow your EVA camera as you wish, and then you'll retrieve the ratchet wrench with the 7/16 6-inch wobble.
See that?
In TC, I was able to feed it behind this other cap, and I think it will reach.
Okay. Yeah, if it reaches, we're in a good config.
Do I have a go to make that on the J44 dummy plug?
Yes, you do. And you already gave me the no FOD good pins, and you'll turn it 9 degrees clockwise to a hard stop.
Okay, copy.
And Chris, we're turning off your camera, just so you know.
Good. Copy that. Jessica, just for your awareness, I'm trying to manage your safety tethers. I'm just bare leading it up the corner by the cable bag. It keeps kind of popping off.
Okay, copy. TC, even on these dummy receptacles, I need to line up the white on white and bring it to white on black. Is that correct?
You got it.
Okay. Unfortunately, that won't work. The cable won't reach that orientation. I don't know if you can see it right now. I have it in my hand, and it reaches the dummy receptacle, but the white is 90 degrees off, and so I can't twist it because that's the wrong. There's not enough length on the cable.
Yep, I'm looking at it. Stand by.
And Mir is continuing to step through the procedures to mate and demate a series of jumpers and cables as part of a redundancy on the power system of the International Space Station.
I think if I loosen those, it might have a chance.
So,
let me know.
Jessica, what I'm hearing is that we think you have it in the right orientation, that if you push it on, you'll be able to rotate it to the right position.
Okay, it definitely won't be white on white when I push it down. It will be lined up with nothing. It's basically 90 degrees off from the white, and then the black is 90 degrees off from the other side of the white. To get to white on black from where I am, it's not 90 degrees, it would be 180.
Copy that, Jessica. Can you, on the connector that you're holding, can you verify that it is fully counterclockwise?
The
yeah. Shell. Yeah.
There are two TA clamps that are on the side of 5202, and I think if I undid those, might have the clearance to reach, but I might have to feed it back around the other thick cable that's out here, the hot one, because it's running on the side of that, and I don't think it'll fit between the struts.
I'm listening to you, Jessica, but I'm also listening to Farouk giving some details. So let me check with him.
Copy.
V1 M1.
Go ahead.
We are going to JoCast to the lens cover clear position now.
Okay. EV1 copies.
Hey, Jessica, just a quick question. Which lines are you looking at? Are you looking at the one at the back of the shell that is the alignment for the tool, or the one that's at the base of the connector that mates with the jack?
So you mean on P46?
On the old cable, the P44 that you are taking to the dummy receptacle?
Yes.
So just looking at the cable that you're saying has the wrong orientation, we just wanted to verify which set of lines you were looking at that you said were rotated off from what the alignment is on the jack. Is that at the back of the connector?
Oh, I'm looking at the dummy plug, and on the dummy plug, I see a black line, and then 90 degrees to the left of it, it has a white one. I'm assuming for the Canon connectors, the dummy plugs work the same. You need to line up the white with the white, and then turn it white to black. So those are the markings that I'm talking about. Can you see it in my heck? I'm looking straight down at it right now.
Yeah, we can see the dummy plug. My understanding was that you were saying that the connector itself on the cable, though, that you're saying that wasn't lined up to where it could reach and line up with those markings on the connector. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just wanted to verify that. So there's two markings on the Canon connector. There's the marking at the back where the tool goes in, and there's a marking at the base that lines up with the jack that you're going to. And we just wanted to make sure that the missile...
Oh, I see that.
You see it?
I see it now. Yeah, you're right. I was looking at the top. so I think that it will work.
Whew, that was a close one.
Okay.
Nice job. Okay, at this point, you're going to, and you got it to the hard stop, didn't you, Jessica?
No, not yet. It's just on white. It's just on white right
Okay.
now, so I need to still rotate it. I think I'm going to need the tool.
Chris, how are you doing? I can't see you.
I am doing okay. I have got retrieved the ratchet wrench, and I'm making my way inboard, just getting a lot of retraction force that I'm trying to manage properly.
Okay, I've got a list of cautions for you, so let me know when you're ready for them.
Copy, standby 1.
NTC J44 is mated white on black, so I think I'm going to repeat that process for P43.
That's affirmative, and I copy your hard stop on J44. Yes, you'll reposition for the 2 alpha panel. I have some handrails if you need them, and then let us know when you've got eyes on P43.
Copy. I see P43.
Perfect. All right, you can demate P43 from J43, and then same thing. We'll route the cable to the center panel.
And we are now 5 hours and 19 minutes into today's spacewalk with NASA astronauts Jess Camere and Chris Williams. So far, all struts have been installed on the 2A mod kit. MLI has successfully been installed on the left and right mid struts. Cables have been routed for future iROSA installation. There was also an inspection of the port Sarge completed, as well as photographs taken of that area. At this time, NASA astronaut Jess Camere is working to route and reroute some jumper cables as part of a redundancy on the space station's power system. And NASA astronaut Chris Williams is working to re-torque an area of the International Space Station that could utilize the robotic arm in the future. Today's spacewalk is the 278th in support of space station maintenance, assembly, and upgrades, and is the 4th for NASA astronaut Jess Camere and the 1st for Williams. This is also the first spacewalk outside of the International Space Station of the year. So far, everything continuing smoothly, as the main objective of today's spacewalk was to get the 2A power channel prepared for future installation of the International Space Station, roll out solar arrays, and all of that work has successfully been completed.
Okay, let me first get a status from you, Jessica. You got that P43 demated?
Hey, firm, I've got it demated. Bring it a look.
Okay, and for you, Chris, are you ready for some?
I see good pins, no FOD, good EMI bands.
Copy.
And I'm ready for words whenever.
Okay, and just for you, Jessica, you can, after you route it, you can mate it beating Papa 43 to the center panel J43. Okay, for you, Chris, first, ensure socket fully engaged. that ensures anti-rotation device tings are fully disengaged before you turn the bolt to prevent bolt damage. Second one is torque is broken when the motion is felt on the bolt head. To prevent bolt damage, do not exceed a half turn on the release. Once torque is broken, do not translate on the micro square until the torque is reset, and do not local or BRT to any box actively being driven. How copy? And I'll get the fifth one. I'll get the fifth one to you. The last one. I'll get the last one to you if we get over to those boxes where it applies.
Copy that.
Okay.
And I'm currently at the most outboard BDCU, just by Jessica's feet.
Okay, it should be conveniently located under the strut bag.
TC,
Go ahead, Jessica.
let you finish with Chris. Go ahead.
I'm at it on top of the strut bag. And I see Hotel 1.
Okay, so I understand you're at BCDU 2 Alpha 1.
And checking, but I believe that is correct.
I have P43 made it to the dummy receptacle. It's white on black.
All right, we copy, Jessica. Good, good mate there, and it's to a hard stop. You can close the TA clamps on the center connector panel to secure both Papa 44 and Papa 43 in place, and that'll be one TA clamp per cable.
You work, I see those.
Okay.
And TC, I'm at 2 Alpha 1.
Excellent. Okay, so here's the drill. You're going to release with the ratchet wrench 1/2 turn, exactly a half turn, and you'll go in order, H1, H2, and you'll give me a report. And then we'll use the PGT and drive with the PGT less than a half turn. But let's get started with the ratchet wrench, and I'll be listening for your turns.
Copy, starting Hotel 1.
And in this view, we do see Jessica Meir continuing to route and unroute those jumper cables. Meanwhile, NASA astronaut Chris Williams is going to work to reset the torque at the BDCU 2A. You just heard those communications from the ground IV, NASA astronaut Tracy Dyson up to Williams, discussing the procedures of releasing with the ratchet wrench 1/2 turn and then utilizing the pistol grip tool following that. There are several boxes that Williams is going to remove the torque on, so he's going to release the torque and then retorque it just at a lower value. And the intent here is that that will allow us in the future to do robotic operations on these boxes if we wanted to move any of them in the future. And again, continuing to get good views from Meir's perspective as she works on those jumpers, routing and rerouting them for redundancy on the space station's power system. Everything continuing to go smoothly, now 5 hours and 26 minutes into today's spacewalk.
Excellent. Okay, you can retrieve the DDCU jumper and then locate the J44 connector on the 4 Alpha panel.
Copy and work.
Whoa. We're working on this bolt, trying to get this rocket to engage on the bolt head.
Copy.
And we're looking at some live views as the International Space Station is orbiting in a orbital nightfall at the moment. On the left-hand side of your screen is the viewpoint from NASA astronaut Jessica Meir as she conducts her 4th spacewalk. She is working to route and reroute some jumper cables to provide redundancy on the space station's power system. And on the right-hand side of your screen is NASA astronaut Chris Williams, who is completing the 1st spacewalk of his career. He is working to re-torque to a slightly looser setting some boxes for future use by the robotic arm if needed. This is the 278th space station in support of space station assembly, maintenance, and upgrades.
Hey, Chris, looking for a status from you. From here, it looks like breaking torque on those boxes is a little, little tough. Did you manage to get it?
Yeah. Not yet. I'm struggling to. It's been challenged to. I'm just working on trying new body positions to get good enough bracing, but also to try to get this. The wobble seems to be a little tricky to get into the anti-rotation.
Yeah. So and we appreciate your.
So I'm just trying to get.
Stand by, because we appreciate your effort, but we're looking at the timing of Jessica finishing this task, and we're thinking that with what time we have left, it would be better time well spent if we had you stand down from the torque resets and get you cleaning up the WIFX APFR.
Okay.
Sound good?
Okay. Copy that. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I did not break torque out of that.
Okay, great. Then we'll have you return the wrench back to the cable bag.
Copy that.
And with those words from the ground IV Tracy Dyson to NASA astronaut Chris Williams as he worked to break torque on those boxes on the International Space Station, had a little trouble breaking that torque, and this operation is not critical for today's operation, so they are going to have Williams pause on that activity and move back to the articulating portable foot restraint to uninstall the WIFX or the worksite interface extension.
Before you translate.
Again, the main task of today's spacewalk was to prepare the 2A power channel for future installation of International Space Station rollout solar arrays, and all struts were installed on the 2A mod kit, successfully completing the main task of today's spacewalk.
Anything that looks like it's a... Do you see maybe a little abrasion on the back of my right glove? Hard to say. On the palms, no other change other than the black marks. And then on my left glove, a few more black marks on the RTV, but no evident other damage. I've got a dry hop, and my gauntlets are done.
Excellent, Chris. We copy a good glove, hop, and gauntlet check. You can continue translating and stow the ratchet. I assume you left the square scoop in the bag. You didn't take that out?
Translating to stow the ratchet.
Okay.
Okay, and I have the jumper, and I'm over here at J44. Do I have a go to mate the jumper to J44?
Give me the no FUD, good pins, good AMI, good stuff.
Affirm, yes. On the jumper end, I have the same config. I have pins, no FUD, good EMI band, and the receptacle still looks unchanged as the previous report.
Excellent. Yes, you have a go to mate.
Here we go. Down, and that's by hand.
Okay, and you got it rotated clockwise to a hard stop?
Affirm.
Okay, and then making your way, you can route the cable to the 2 alpha panel and just confirm that your safety tether is not trapped by the jumper cable.
I will confirm that. I've got the jumper cable. It is all underneath each other. So I think I'm in a good config.
Copy, good config.
And as Mir continues to route cables and jumpers as part of a redundancy on the space station's power system, Williams is making his way back over to the articulating portable foot restraint that was used during the installation of the 2A mod kit earlier this morning. We are now 5 hours and 34 minutes into today's spacewalk. The main task of today's spacewalk was to prepare the 2A power channel for future installation of International Space Station rollout solar arrays, and all of that work was completed. The mod kit for the 2A power channel was successfully built and installed. Additionally, cables were routed for the preparation of the IROSAs. And in addition to that, there was imagery of the port SARS that was done, as well as a visual inspection provided by NASA astronaut Chris Williams. And as we speak, Mir is continuing to route those cables, those jumper cables on the DDCU.
So I've got this adjustable. So I've now got the adjustable on my mini workstation that has and back. I want to organize a little bit more. Move some bits around.
You see, I've got the ratchet bundled back in the cable bag. Back on the fish stringer.
Excellent, Chris. All right, that's great. We're going to have you move on to the APFR with X that's in with 25. And big picture, you're going to, I know you know this, I'm just going to say it out loud. You're going to retrieve the APFR with X bundle, and you're going to stow all of that on your BRT, and then we're going to start the translation port toward the seat of cart. And then once we get there, I'll give you more words.
Copy all. Copy all.
Okay, TC, I did a little bit of reorganization here. I've got the 2 caps on adjustable, and then I have the other adjustable that was on the DD jumper for the temp stow I have that actually connecting the caps to my mini workstation. And now I'm going to route the cable over.
Okay, I copy your RET config with the dummy caps, and it's all connected to your workstation and your routing cable.
Ephraim, I have nothing on, don't have anything on the mated cable right now because that end was mated. I assumed I could release the adjustable from it.
I'm going to say yes until someone disagrees with me.
Okay, copy. That was the adjustable I wanted to use for the cap so that they weren't hanging down on a rack.